just a couple of things. Our purpose today is just to go over a couple of different things and then to open it up for any questions you have after we have gone through this. Um, so, just want to remind everybody that the provider handbook is really important for you to know where it is and to know what's in it. You can get a link to the provider handbook on our JI website at www.jointinitiatives.org/UPK. Heather will put that in the chat as a reminder. And it's really important that you begin to look at this provider handbook as things are moving along with the state. Their plan is to merge local coordinating organizations with early childhood councils and to reduce the number of folks that are specifically supporting UPK. And they are hoping to move a lot of the technical support to the state. And so it's important that you try to answer your own questions through the provider handbook or whatever resources you have available to you before reaching out to us. And then don't get frustrated when you reach out to us if there is an answer in the provider handbook and we direct you to that, because we really want to try to get you as self-sufficient with this as possible, because we don't know what the response time is going to be on the help desk up at the state. Now, this is not something that's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be over time. So you're still more than welcome to reach out to us. And our approach is going to be to remind you that that information is in the provider handbook. And then we'll take care of you, but then we're also going to remind you of that. So please just make sure that you are doing that as much as possible. I'm sorry, I didn't even realize my video wasn't on. Do that as much as possible so that you're used to it and it's not a shock to you when most of the support is defaulted to the state. Okay, so we're going to go over some key timelines here just to make sure that everybody understands what's happening, even though those of you who this is not your first rodeo in any way, shape, or form, you don't do this except for once a year. So it's nice to be reminded of how this works. So pre-registration is over. And those folks that you verified as being in place status with you and that they were continuity of care, those folks have already received their matches. And they are being encouraged to accept their match. And many of them at this point have already accepted. So you're going to see families who are either in matched or accepted status right now for 26, 27. Okay. 25, 26 is a whole nother ball of wax. That has not changed in terms of what's going on there. But right now we're talking about 26, 27. And so also you can contact Heather or I, and we can add or remove seats for you. I will remind you that you can add seats on your own through the process in the provider handbook. What you cannot do is remove seats. So you have to contact us to have seats removed. So if you want to switch seats from one program to another, what makes the most amount of sense at this point is for you to reach out to us. We'll take care of adding the seats at the same time that we take care of removing the seats. But if all you're going to do is add seats, you can do that on your own. If you are having problems with that, make sure you reach out. So the first matching round runs on February the 16th. These are everybody who has submitted an application up to and through February 2nd. So if you have families who have submitted applications after that time, theoretically, they will be postponed to the second matching round. I can't guarantee that because sometimes what we're told isn't what actually happens. So there may be some families who applied after the second who end up going through the first round, but that's initially what we were told. So the first matching round is February 16th. Then there's going to be a day for the state to look at the algorithm and clean anything up that didn't go the way it was supposed to. And then on the 18th, you are going to get the matches that you received through the first matching round. And these are folks that have been matched with you through the algorithm. So families cannot see their match until the 25th of February. However, you can see who has been matched with you. So, our suggestion during this time is that you reach out to the families who have been preliminarily matched with you, offer them a tour if you don't know who they are, and try to figure out whether that match is going to end up being a good fit for both the family and for you. Now, you may not decline matches. I mean, you may not accept matches. There's no accepting of matches. And sometimes in the handbook it says that this is a period where you can accept or decline matches. You do not accept these matches. You can only decline them, and you can only decline them for a reason. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. So great time to reach out to the folks who have been matched with you and say, hey, come on in for a tour. And so that they know when they get their matches on February 25th, whether or not they want to accept or decline you. Okay. And they have the right to decline you. Obviously, they also have the right to accept you. So they'll be notified by their match, of their match by 5 p.m. on the 25th, and they need to accept or decline their match by 11:59 p.m. on March the 6th. If they do nothing, the match will go back into selected status and they will run through the algorithm again, the second algorithm. Okay. Um, so they have to do something or they're just running back through the algorithm again. Okay. So 25th through the 15th, you can add or remove seats. March 16th is the second matching round. March 18th through the 23rd, again, you're reviewing and declining matches where you have a reason. You're reaching out to families who have been matched with you. And then March 24th through the 31st, families are notified and they accept. And then direct enrollment starts on April 1. Okay. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to put it in the chat or hold off and ask at the end. All right, let's move on. In the provider handbook, there is a definition of the various statuses that you may see. So what you're seeing right now for 2627 is matched and accepted. Okay. And that should be all you're seeing right now because you're only seeing the families that you stated were continuity of care with you. You're not seeing anybody else yet. Okay. And then obviously enrolled will be after you enroll the children. Withdrawn just means that a family decided to not accept you, or we withdrew them at your request or the family's request because they've made a different decision. And then selected is during direct enrollment only. And again, we're talking about 26, 27 right now. You're going to see families for 25, 26 as you have been in selected status in your portal for the year that we're currently in. But right now, you're not going to see that for any families for 26, 27. Okay, just reminding everybody what the matching process looks like again, that pre-registration, the families have been placed because you actually said that they had priority with you. When a match goes to a family, they will accept or decline. And then if they accept, then that's when you're going to enroll. And some of you have the ability to be able to decline families once those matches go to you before the family can even see it. And again, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So if you're a little bit confused about how this works, go back to this page on in the provider handbook and look at the explanation. Okay, now let's talk about declines. So when you initially filled out your setup form, you were asked to check certain boxes if they applied to your program. Most of you, except for school districts, most of you clicked that none of those things applied. Therefore, you do not have a reason to decline a child. You have to have a an accepted reason to decline the family. So you can see the ones that are highlighted up here that were options for you to click at that time. Um, so uh, During the matching process, when you're matched with a family, you may not decline that family unless you have a reason that you have put in your setup form. So, an example of why you might have a reason to do that. Let's say you are a co-op, and through a co-op, you require parent participation in the program, and you have talked with that parent and they misunderstood the requirements of a co-op and they're not going to be able to participate. So that co-op then can then decline that family. Okay. If you're a school district and you said that families are have to live in your boundary and someone has applied to one of your schools that does not live in your boundary, then you can decline. Okay. So, but most of you do not have a reason to decline. So, we keep an eye on declinations. We are actually notified when one of our providers declines a family. And every once in a while, particularly I'm going to step it up now, but every once in a while I go back through and look at the decline report. And then I reach out to somebody who has declined a family for a reason that is not applicable to them. And then I put that child back into the status that they were in and notify you that I did that and that you don't have a reason to decline that family. So it's much easier on all of us if you just understand this process. Okay. Um, this is some slides about how to view and decline matches. Again, it's in the provider handbook. I'm not going to go over it for the simple reason that it is outlined very clearly in the provider handbook on several pages. So if you're not sure what to do to decline a family, if you need to do that or you have the reason to do that, it's in the handbook. And I just wanted to remind you of that. Okay. We're going to keep going. Okay. Now we're going to move to supplemental hours. So, supplemental hours means the children that are eligible for more than 15 hours. So, just as a reminder, every child who is in their year before kindergarten is eligible for 15 hours. Okay. Um, some children are eligible for 30. And there is a supplemental hours report that you can pull that will allow you to be able to see who is eligible for what. But also this year, um, before each matching round and biweekly through direct enrollment, we will send the communication below to the following groups. Families eligible for supplemental hours. These families are who submitted their application within the validation period and meet the guidelines. And so they're sending it directly out to families. And then families eligible for supplemental hour ineligible, they're also letting them know that if they have applied for supplemental hours and they're not eligible, then they're letting them know. There should be something within the application that would allow you to be able to determine whether the family has received supplemental hours. I'm not sure what that looks like yet because I think they're still working on it. But the first round of supplemental hours notification either has or will be today or tomorrow sent out to families. So you can always ask the family whether or not they have received that information. And again, until this whole system is down to to working exactly the way it's supposed to, if you need information about whether a child is eligible for supplemental hours, I would request that you reach out to either Heather or me, and we will run the supplemental hours report that we have and look up the child and let you know. And again, if a family is not aware one way or another, they haven't received it, it's going to the email that they use to set up their application. So that's where they will be notified of the supplemental hours. But families are also able to reach out to us. And again, we'll download the report and let them know. This is not instantaneous. So if a family applied yesterday and wants to know today if they're eligible, we're not going to be able to tell them that. So and we're not going to be able to tell you that either. So please, have some patience around that. This is believe it or not, this is a manual process right now. Up at the state. So it does take some patience as a result of that. All right, this month's FAQs. What do I do if I have a child who has shown up in my portal as wanting a match for the remainder of this year, 25-26, and I can't get a hold of the family? The state requires that you try to contact the family at least 3 times over 2 weeks. If you still cannot reach the family, you're going to contact Heather or I, and we will withdraw the child from your portal. Do not decline the child in these circumstances. There's no declination there that fits, and you're not allowed to do it. So please let us know. Again, it just means that when I'm monitoring the decline report and I see something weird going on in terms of a declination, I have to go back to you and say, okay, why did you really decline this child? Because what you use doesn't match and you can't use it anyway. So can you please understand that not being able to get a hold of the family is a reason to have that child withdrawn from your list so that you're not being driven crazy with that child being in selected status. But you need to let either Heather or I know so that we can withdraw it. Please don't decline. One of my families who is continuity of care with me missed the window. What are my options? You can contact us to reduce your seats before the matching round by one, to hold a seat for this child, and then place the child after direct enrollment if they are not matched with you in a matching round. This should not be a common practice and should happen only for those who are currently attending with you and missed the window. Okay. This is not an approach to try to manage a wait list that, according to UBK, you're not allowed to have. So, this is a way to accommodate a family who just missed it. Okay, and that you really want that child to be with you, and they want to be with you. Excuse me. So let us know if that's what needs to happen. Um, we do not have the authority to place a child in match status except in very rare circumstances within the last couple of days and going forward with 1 or 2 more days. Other than that, we cannot change the status. So this is the way to handle the situation. Under what circumstances can I decline a child? Okay, we've already talked about this, but this is worth looking at again. You can only decline a child if you have an approved reason. Those coincide with the criteria that you checked in your setup form, such as being a school district and families need to live within the boundaries, or you are a co-op and a family may not be able to meet your participation requirements. If you selected that none of these requirements apply to you, you do not have an approved reason to decline a child. If you need support for a child who is not a good fit, please reach out to me to discuss the situation, but do not decline. If you reach out to me, we're going to discuss how to handle that situation. When can I put my 26, 27 children in enrolled status? Unlike other years, now. So you can actually enroll kiddos who have accepted you, that they have to be accepted before you can enroll them. You cannot enroll them when they are in match status. And we do suggest that you not move them to enroll until all of your paperwork has been completed. And then that way it's a really good tracking for you as to who has completed what. And you, the ones that have not will sit in accepted status until you enroll them. All right, we're going to stop sharing. And now we're going to open it up for any questions or clarification that you need. Alma, thanks for raising your hand. That makes things really easy.
Thank you. So I have a child who I was continuity of care. They have now since left me. They actually just left this week. They haven't accepted or anything. They're pretty. So what do I do? Because he won't be here, but I want to drop my seat to one, and only because I only do continuity of care.
Okay. Well, let me clarify a couple of things here. First of all, if you are going to have an open seat that does not have anybody in it, uh, your provider agreement states that you're going to participate. How do I put this? Okay, you should leave that one seat open, and allow the algorithm to fill it. So,
I can't leave that one seat open because I've actually filled a spot with an
okay.
infant, so I can't leave that seat open. So I don't
All
have
right,
opening.
that's a whole nother thing. When you say that you only do continuity of care, that's against the provider agreement. So I am fine. So you're going to reach out and let me know. You're going to need to send an email so that we have a written record of it and say, please reduce my, my whatever program seat by one. I filled it with a younger child.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Who else? Lori? Lori. You're having Zoom problems today too, huh? The last time you were on, you couldn't make your sound work either. You want to put it in the chat? Put it in the chat while I answer Christy's question, okay? Christy?
Hi, Noreen. So
Hey.
at Monument Academy, we go through a whole registration process and seat offers since we are a charter school. Are we okay to wait a little while to enroll the students that are currently matched with us so that it goes out about the same time as the rest of the seat offers?
Yes, you may.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You just have to have your kiddos that you would actually like to be paid for enrolled by, I would say, the middle of July. To make sure that there's no issues with metrics IQ and being able to pay you. But up until then, I think you're good to go.
Perfect. Because we're getting ready to send out seat offers at the end of February. So we're good. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Who else?
Noreen, I have a question.
Sure.
I have a student that missed the window. She needed a continuity of care spot. I do still have seats open, but she's a newer student and they missed the application. So mom did complete it, but I don't see her name in there. Can I email her information to you and you can try to get it connected to our center?
Um, okay, so I'm going to answer this question in the what I hope is going to be the right way. So, as I said a little bit earlier, if you have a family who missed the continuity of care window, the correct way to do this is to reduce your seat by one, and then hold on and make that family part of your direct enrollment process after April 1. We have been correcting some things in the last couple of days because of glitches with the verification process. This was not a glitch with the verification process. I will offer that Heather and I will for the next day, for the next 24 hours to the end of this business tomorrow, families who are in this situation, if they have applied and done it correctly, we will go in and put them in match status. That offer expires at the end of this week. And then at that point, the only way you are going to be able to get them in is if you reduce your seats by one and then wait till direct enrollment.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, Lori, looking at eligibility for supplemental hours, they all say to be determined. However, I have some that say 15 hours a week and some that say 15 hours pending review. The ones that just say 15 hours, should I assume they don't qualify? Great question, Lori, and I'm going to have to look into this. Okay? Because the supplemental hours stuff is not completely where it should be right now yet. I mean, I think when they get this entire system down, it's going to be so much easier than what it has been in the past, but it's in transition. So let me look into that. Yes, I will. Yes, Stacy, I will share what I find with all of you. I'll do it in a UPK update email once we get an answer. Okay, so that everybody has it. Heather, will you write that down so that I don't forget, please? Okay. And I'm sorry about that, but it's just a transition situation at this point, and we literally at some point along the line on the family's application, there will be something that tells you what they're eligible for, and it will tell you, and it'll tell the family, so that there will be no question as to what they're eligible for. But I don't think that is the case yet. So we'll see what we can do. Okay? Who else?
I have a question, Noreen. And I think you answered this, but I just want to clarify, make sure I'm hearing correctly. So I heard you allude to some potential glitches, and we noticed we have a couple families that showed us that they had registered. We sent them the direct registration link, so it's tied directly to their centers. They're not showing up on our end, and this would have happened on Friday that they registered, so they should have shown up. One child in particular showed up on our end. We refreshed our screen and she was gone. They're still not showing up. Should we just alert you of those families? Should we wait till the algorithm runs? What's the easiest method for you? Alert you?
All right. So February 2nd was an unfortunate day up at the state. Um, they um, they had somebody flip a switch on the night of February 1st that shouldn't have. So continuity of care should have been recognized all the way through the day of February 2nd, but that did not happen. Okay. So if you have anybody that applied on February the 2nd and is continuity of care, those are the ones that Heather and I have been fixing. Okay. And we have complete permission from the state to fix it. So send me those names. Okay. And I'll get them fixed today.
That sounds great. Thank you, Noreen. I
Uh-huh.
appreciate it.
Yep. Who else? No other questions?
Can I piggyback on something you said earlier, Noreen, for
Sure.
providers?
Sure.
We've had parents that are in match status, and with some of those glitches Noreen talked about, we've reached out to them to kind of with the whole match process. I called them and they're like, oh, yeah, we're already there. We're good to go. It's reminding them they have to accept their match, their continuity of care. They're there. And then they're like, oh, well, thank you for doing that. I didn't know. And I'm like, just as a provider, just as Maureen said, reach out, remind them it's there and that they have that deadline to make sure that they do accept it. I accepted 5 yesterday, and the parents were like, well, thank you. So just something to remind you of.
Yeah. And as I said in the UPK update yesterday, which I know a lot of people don't read, but sure wish you would, that you monitor your list of families. And as you get closer to the last day to accept, which is the 11th, that you contact any of those who continue to be in match status, because that means they have not accepted their match. And let them know that if they don't accept their match, they're going back to selected and their priority status goes away. Okay. So, and we're not allowed to fix those. So they have to accept their match. Stacy.
We just want to confirm if it's AM or PM on the 11th, because we received one communication that said one and one that said the other.
Excuse me, what we were told yesterday in our LCO meeting is at 11:59 p.m. on the 11th. I have not been telling parents it's 11:59. I have been telling them it's in the morning, or some parents I've been telling them it's the 10th, for the simple reason that I don't want them leaving it to the last minute. So I've never seen a more last minute crowd than UPK folks. So I would, please, 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 give them a fake deadline in hopes that they actually do it on time. Because after that time, we can't fix it.
I'm sorry, Noreen. I thought of one more thing, and this is so random, but as we're looking at the 26-27 program year, I noticed that there's now a program full, like, box. So it says matched, accepted, placed, program full, enrolled.
Oh. Okay. So the circumstances for that are, well, the first circumstance for that was folks who said that they were continuity of care. You only had 5 seats and they were the sixth person that was continuity of care. Then they showed up as program full, right? And then when somebody saw that, when a provider saw that, they reached out and said, well, what do we do about this? And I said, can you add another seat? Because we'll add another seat and we'll put the kiddo in there, right? And because it was continuity of care. But when the algorithm runs, there may be a situation, and again, it changes all the time, so I'm not really sure, but there may be a situation in which let's say somebody puts you as their first choice, but they have a really lousy lottery number. And everybody, somebody else, a bunch of other people have taken up all the seats before that. It may turn out that what they get is a program full. and particularly if they only make one choice. Okay, that it may say program full at that point. It'll be interesting for all of us to see what happens once the algorithm runs in terms of how they're using some of this stuff. And unfortunately, it's almost impossible to get an exact answer up from the state because it's the bridge care team that is doing all of this. And so, I mean, sometimes the state is surprised about what happens too. So, but that would be my guess that that's what's going to happen. As an example, if there's only one provider that the family chose and the program is full, then that's probably what they're going to get.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else? All right. Well, if you think of any other questions or concerns that you have, please go ahead and email them to me or to Heather, and we will be happy to answer them. And if we cannot, we will find the answer. And we're at it again at 6 o'clock tonight. So if you've loved this and you have come up with other questions you have, you're certainly welcome to join us at 6 o'clock. And hopefully by then we will have fixed our Zoom issue and we'll start on time. So I hope all of you have a good day. Thank you so much for participating in Universal Preschool. We appreciate it, and we look forward to assisting you in any way we can in the future.